this is um True Blue Politics Daily with Anita. Oh wait, today's date. What is today's date,
Oh
Karen?
my God. It's True Blue Politics podcast, daily podcast with Anita and Karen, and it is May 26th, 2026, year of our Lord. And Anita is still
Hey,
drunk from yesterday. She
it's
had,
true.
she
It's
was,
true. A
she
little
was
bit.
belly
Just a
up.
little
Weren't
bit.
you were belly up to the margarita truck.
The margarita truck.
Let's just say it.
Okay, I did.
Okay.
I
And
did partake
apparently
a
she's
few
still
margaritas.
drunk.
You weren't supposed to tell.
Remember, we're not editing this. This is like all live. We're doing it live.
Okay, you got the date?
I did. I think I covered
Thank,
everything.
thank you. Well, that's what you get for counting on me today.
Well, listen, especially,
Mm,
because you're still drunk.
that's true. Let's see. Let's see how this goes.
That's okay. Yeah. This is going to be a fun one,
This is.
Get yourselves belted in. Okay. This is
That's
going to be a
right.
wild ride this
Buckle up.
morning. Buckle up, buttercups.
Yep. Okay.
Anyway, so Anita was busy though. I mean, while you were drunk, you sent
I
a
was.
lot of info.
I was drunk
And
texting and drunk. What do you call it?
you were
Scrolling.
butt
Drunk
dialing and
scrolling.
drunk
No,
doom
drunk scrolling.
scrolling.
Not doom scrolling. This is
No.
different.
Oh,
You
just
can't be
drunk.
You can't be a drunk doom scroller,
Yeah, you can.
but I wasn't.
No.
Although a
Well,
little bit.
mm,
Anyway, so I did find some things we wanted to discuss today,
mhm.
and we want to start off with a little
A little ditty, a little ad.
memory, going down a little bit of memory lane.
Yeah, so
Oh,
this is on TikTok. Just so for anybody that's just listening to this, Trump sucks on TikTok, and it's a long number. This is an ad that has been put out.
mhm.
So this is gonna, yes, we will let everybody just listen to this.
They want to draft your kids to die in wars, and they will never fight themselves.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. Isn't it pathetic?
We do not want war with Iran. We actually want peace.
If I'm elected president, we are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. My plan will cut energy prices in half or more than that. That means we're going down and getting gasoline below $2 a gallon. Our country, starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. Yes, we will make housing much more affordable as inflation is tamed. A vote for Trump means your groceries will be cheaper.
A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them.
Nations do not want to fight endless wars. We're getting out of the endless wars. We have to do it.
No new war. We don't need the wars. Foreign lands, countries you've never heard of, countries that don't even want us there. We will keep America out of foolish, stupid, ridiculous foreign wars. The plan is to get out of endless wars, to bring our soldiers back home, to not be policing agents all over the world. We were crazy what we did. We had these endless wars that go on for 21, 22 years, spending billions and billions of dollars. We'll stay around the country for 15 years, just bomb the hell out of everybody, make everybody miserable. Nobody knows why we're there, the wars that never end. These endless wars that we've been in, I've gotten us out of so many. We don't want to get into wars. We're tired of fighting. I'm the only president in the last 84 years that didn't start a war. Under Trump, we will have no more wars. No more wars. No more wars. We will have prosperity and peace. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Remember, I'm the president of peace. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. He's going to start a war. I said, no. My rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. My proudest legacy will be that of a
peacemaker. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. 2 wars, Venezuela, where we lost nobody, and here we lost 13 people. And I say this, I will end that war in one day. It'll take 24 hours. I know Zelensky well. I know Putin well.
What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friend.
Still talking about Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wait, who was he talking to, do you suppose?
I don't know who he was talking. It was different interviews, but he said we're going to have prosperity and peace, and we're having poverty and war. He is just.
I'm not seeing the prosperity right now, and I'm definitely.
Well, he would say anything. This just. I mean, it's what he says is this stuff is ridiculous.
But
He
who could have
said-
seen that coming, Anita? Because we had no idea who Donald
No, we had
Trump
no
was.
idea.
We didn't know that he was a pathological liar or like a credibly accused child rapist. We didn't know that. Or a 34-count felon, convicted felon. We didn't know that. So
a fraud.
and
Okay.
a fraud, yeah.
He's been a pathological liar all his life, and the things he said. I mean, he would say anything to get elected. That's what was going on. The whole thing with, and the fact that the whole Epstein thing, he was best friends with Epstein for decades. And these people thought he was going to uncover, he was going to be the one that, exposed Epstein, and it was going to be all these Democrats. I mean, everything. It's hard to believe anybody believed that crap. He said he ended 84 wars. I mean, 80. He said he ended all the wars. He said, I'm the only president that's ended a war in 84 years. Obama ended the Iraq war. Let's see, Gerald Ford ended the war. I mean, he's just so ridiculous. And these people just lap it up, I guess.
I see, and again, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm like stuttering here. I just can't. Like, what do you
when you listen to all that all together?
when you listen to it, it broke my brain because.
Well, you know what? I think they know he's full of shit.
They just
But
don't care.
No, they don't care. And they know that what really matters, owning the libs, right?
Yep.
And it makes us crazy listening to him lie. And so they love it.
And and it's just like, and so now, I don't know. I mean, and again, and of course, this weekend, people got together with family and friends, and what I'm hearing more and more is that people are just like, they're not inviting their MAGA relatives to the barbecue anymore. Like it's like we're done. Like we're not interested. And sitting down and, I mean, we were talking with our friends Heidi and Wendy for the podcast that dropped yesterday. You can get True Blue Politics podcast, our biweekly recording on wherever you get your podcasts, and you can go to Patreon as well. Just a little plug there. But anyway, we had a very long conversation with them, and one of the things that we were talking about was Hungary and about how they were able to do it. And they pointed out that this new party that was started, that there was a coalition, that there were things that the people that made up the party and the voters, they had certain things that they all agreed on. They didn't agree on everything, but they had certain things, and just how we come together with people. But here's my thing. We don't come together with MAGA. MAGA is unreachable. I feel like the people that we need to come together with, I guess, are the people that, are wanting to, like we have some agreement on, like the Epstein files, like the no war, like, affordability, things like that are just undeniable. And the corruption, right?
They still did. The corruption is really the big kicker, I think. But no, like 25% of the people in Hungary still voted for Orban.
Right.
So, I mean, there's always going to be this group of people that are anti-democratic. They're against liberal democracy.
Yep.
So what we have to do is mobilize and educate people. Now, what they did was they formed these coalitions, but they used independent media, because the media basically was being run out of, it was like state-run media.
It's like
his
sort of
buddies,
like Fox.
what's happening
Fox
here.
News. Right.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's happening here with
Mhm.
CBS, and now
Mhm.
CNN is being threatened to. I think a MAGA guy wants to own CNN, right? Don't the Ellisons want to buy that?
Yeah.
So they've
and,
got CBS. They're trying to do it here too.
yeah, and they're threatening The View. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
But ABC is fighting back, which is nice to see.
Good.
So obviously, I mean, they're suing them, and so there is some pushback now. And one of the reasons why there's pushback is because Donald Trump is seen as a lot. When he first came in, a lot of people thought, oh, they reelected this guy. It's almost like, I guess this is how the American people are feeling. It's inevitable that we have fascism.
Mm-hmm.
So now I think people are pushing back, and it's good to see because he's become very, very unpopular. So you talked about our MAGA relatives. Those are getting fewer and far between.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
So-
No, 100%. So I'm going to go ahead. There was a Morning Joe clip that you sent me with
Mhm.
Jonathan Lemire and some unknown person.
Well, we want to talk David Rhodes.
David Rhodes.
We
Thank
want to
you.
talk about we want to talk about he's kind of a neocon, and
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to talk about how about this whole Iran deal that happened this weekend and then blew up, which is becoming a pattern.
We don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened.
Well, I kind of know.
And you were drunk and you
was drunk.
followed it?
I did. Well, I did follow it because you know what? I do my best following when I'm drunk. Okay.
You do.
But I followed it closely.
Oh, that's
and
good.
and he, yes, I mean it was pretty obvious what happened. Okay,
Mhm.
so we'll talk about this some more. Let's play this,
Okay.
and he's going to talk about what a disaster it was.
Yes. Okay.
This
So
deal.
here we go.
We're at a moment where a few days ago it looked like this war could be coming to an end. That seems less certain now, but certainly the U.S. has some hopes for negotiations. As that approaches, remind us, please, about the goals that this administration first set out for this conflict and what has actually been achieved.
Look, I want to give credit to all the service members that are out there, and particularly the day after Memorial Day. But this has been a disaster for this administration. To have the Secretary of State, as we just saw him on his plane, trying to play down, almost trying to placate the Iranians and the American public about how this conflict has gone was extraordinary. No matter how you look at it, none of these goals, or maybe one of them, has been met. I looked it up last night. I looked up President Trump's speech on February 28th when he announced the war. So achieved, annihilate their Navy. Maybe, I think that's generally true, but this morning the New York Times has reporting that there's hundreds of these speedboats. And look, I believe the United States Navy. I don't believe the Iranians at all. If they're laying mines with one of these speedboats, that's why I was part of the attack yesterday. That's extraordinary. That shows how emboldened the Iranians are. So that's maybe achieved or partly achieved. And then everything else, destroy their missiles. The latest assessment is that 70% of Iran's missile capacity remains intact. They have knocked out some of the factories, but again, that is not an achievement overall. Ensure the region's terrorist proxies no longer destabilize the region. That's not happening at all. That's not even part of these negotiations. And the missiles aren't either. Ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. As Inzamam said, that's not even part of the current negotiations. That will come in this 60-day second round of talks. And then most tragically, what he said as he said here, to the great people of Iran, take over your government. And the
Do you want me
Okay.
to keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, don't cut it there. What goals did he accomplish? He said maybe accomplish one. He just named it like 4 or 5, and
That
none
he
of them
didn't.
were
Okay, so here,
accomplished.
this is what he said. Achieved. Annihilate their Navy.
He said maybe.
Well, maybe.
I mean, what is their navy? Are those speedboats part of their navy? Because this is asymmetric warfare, and this guy doesn't seem to understand that. That's
Mhm.
why they're
So-
able to accomplish what they're
Yeah,
accomplishing.
so I have the list. Destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. That has not been achieved.
No. Mm-mm.
Ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region. Not
That's
achieved.
not achieved.
Right? Ensure Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. That
That
has not
certainly
been
hasn't been achieved.
Nope.
Yeah.
And to the great proud people of Iran, take over your government.
Oh, that's even made. They've made that worse
Mm-hmm.
because now they've strengthened the regime.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't know what he's talking about. And I don't believe anything coming out of the Pentagon right now.
No, definitely not. I mean, and that, when he says, well, we can trust our government more than we can trust
Mm-mm.
Iran, I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that at all. As a matter of fact, Iran's been proven, to be telling the truth about a lot of these things, whereas our government has been proven to be lying.
Exactly.
So
I'm not sure I agree with that at all.
I just wanted that to show kind of a mainstream legacy media
Oops, sorry.
type,
Yeah.
reporting on. This is the way they're even reporting it. That the deal was he was basically going to give Iran everything they wanted, and he didn't even mention controlling the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes. Yep.
And the Strait of Hormuz is still under the control of Iran. Of course, that in the beginning, maybe because he was talking about initially Donald Trump's speech. He didn't even, and what did they do? They closed the Strait of Hormuz. Donald Trump had he just dismissed that as a threat.
Yep.
So it was open before, then it was closed, and now the only objective they have is to reopen it.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It is insane. It's insane. I mean, and what, all of those things that they were talking about were not achieved, weren't they, in Obama's deal?
No. Obama's deal was a very narrowly focused deal that dealt strictly with the nuclear threat. They were able, because they narrowed it down to just that, they were able to put that aside. Just let's take care of this. We can deal with the other things later. But what Donald Trump did was he just tore the whole things up, and then we have to start from scratch. Right?
Yeah. And then, and as a part of I saw some of the reports about, these are the things that they want to do. I think it was Marco Rubio got out there, and I'm just like, that stuff is all the same stuff that was
I know.
in
the Obama JCPOA.
What a shit show. They don't know what they're doing.
Of course, no, none of them do. That's the whole problem.
None of them do.
Donald
It is just
Trump, they don't prepare. They are not prepared. They go to these negotiations and they're not even prepared. Apparently, they have to be coached on or told, what certain things they're talking about, like when they're talking about uranium and things like that. They don't understand.
Right.
Barack Obama had a nuclear physicist there negotiating with them.
Exactly. Okay, so I'm going to keep it moving here. This is on CNN from yesterday afternoon. U.S. and Iran talks underway in Qatar as deal terms remain broad. So this is an interview with John Bolton. So I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Okay.
Well, I hope the negotiations break down, because every day that goes by is a gift to Iran. It gives them 24 more hours to recover from the pummeling they took during the 6 weeks of U.S.-Israeli attack. It gives them time to try and reconstitute their government, which increasingly looks dysfunctional in decision-making capability. And it postpones the day of reckoning, ultimately, when the threat that they pose to control over the Strait of Hormuz is resolved in a way that they never come back and do it again. I think the ceasefire was a mistake. I think these negotiations are a mistake. I think we're on the verge of something that ultimately history will decide was a catastrophic loss for the United States. We have done significant damage to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And right now, we're letting them undo the damage. And that is a real tragedy, not just for us, but for the people in the region, too.
And that's a guy that was pro this war, John Bolton. Of course, he's pro-war, period.
Always has been.
Always has been. So when he's talking about it being a disaster like that, or that it being going down in history as this total loss for the United States, his heart's breaking, okay? But he's wrong.
We just had the newly appointed
I'm sorry. I'm trying to
keep there's a later one of John Bolton.
Here it is. I'm going to just go ahead. So if you want, so this is a tweet from ASIN. Former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton says Iran is playing Trump because he's desperate to make a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one, and we can talk about it on the other side.
And you just had the newly appointed leader of Iran's National Security Council saying in his first public message that there will be no retreat in Iran's fight against the U.S. and Israel. And just to expand a little bit on what you alluded to, I mean, do you think the president fully understands Iran's position here and what it would take for them to reach a deal that would be better than what was previously negotiated?
I don't think the president understands the fanaticism of what's left of the regime and the people who are in power. He is somebody who has spent his whole life making deals with people. He thinks everybody wants to make a deal on just about anything. That's not what these people are into. And they can see that Trump is so palpably desperate to have a deal that he can declare to be a victory and that lowers prices of gasoline. And they're playing him on that. They're stretching him out. They're buying time. All of that works in their advantage.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean, he worked for the guy, and he still doesn't understand what a disaster this guy is. First of all, Donald Trump has not spent his life making deals. He spent his life sucker punching people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he does. Like they've done that with Iran from the very beginning with Soleimani. They were supposedly negotiating, and then, well, during negotiations, they went and assassinated him.
Mm-hmm.
Then remember, they did it again when they were supposedly negotiating, and they said they had a deal. It would have been a great deal, actually. And they attacked right in the middle of negotiations.
Yep.
And now, I mean, this thing happened. So what? Of course, Iran, it doesn't, they're not going to make a deal with these guys.
No.
These guys are a joke.
Yep. Absolutely. They're a dangerous joke.
They don't know what they're doing. They're flailing.
No. And so, of course, why would you? I mean, look, I think back to, the first Gulf War when then, we pulled out and they, we're telling the Kurds to take up arms and go and overthrow Saddam Hussein.
And then we abandoned them.
And then we abandoned them. And so, again, it's like these Republican regimes do not negotiate in good faith. There's no reason, they've given nobody any reason to stand up and fight, because I mean, it's just, they're not going to have their backs. They're not going to do anything for them. They're going to, I mean, they abandoned the Kurds. Why would the Iranian people ever think that the American government, under Republicans, is going to honor anything they say?
Well, it's not just this is even worse. I mean, Republicans, yes, they've done but for the most part, there's been some consistency with our foreign policy. Donald Trump just has thrown all of that away. Okay, he doesn't care because he doesn't understand it. He's just he's just pulling shit out of his ass.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes there and he makes these promises and he says he's going to make this deal, right? He's done this before, where he said he would use the 10-point demands that they had. That would be the foundation for these talks. And then of course he reneges on it when he gets backlash. That's exactly what he did this time. And as a matter of fact, it's the same pattern. Bibi Netanyahu talks to him. First of all, he gets backlash from the warmongers here, the neocon warmongers here in the United States, like Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz. They came out and were bashing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets it from Bibi Netanyahu, who calls him, and he's pissed off. And he says, "What are you talking about? What are you doing?" And so Donald Trump immediately starts, I'm never going to let them have a nuclear weapon and blah, blah, blah. And he talks a big talk. What do you think the Iranians are supposed to think?
Exactly right.
This is the 13th supposed deal he's made with them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So these are not serious people. And these are serious topics, war and peace. We're talking about life and death.
Yep. Absolutely. So also from Twitter, somebody named Chevalier, as an Iranian, I must say this is beyond joke. Now I started to admit why this murderous Islamic regime thinks they won. At POTUS behaves as if it's a theater stage. This is ridiculous. What did he achieve after all these empty promises? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Poor Iranians supported him for months, although starving with no internet, in spite of all execution, believing he'll do something. Expectation, I think he meant. Shame on you, at Real President T. Shame on you. You have no courage or ability to finish the job. Shame on you for promising something to a nation while you never dared or will to do it. Such a disgrace.
And he's turned the whole United States he's humiliated us because this person, I mean, because it's the United States of America. When he's speaking, supposedly it's the United States of America. And now nobody can take him serious.
Right.
He promised, that was one of his goals. He was going to free he never, of course, we understood, don't believe anything he says. This guy will just throw you under the bus in a second.
Right.
And, but these people don't, the Iranian people didn't know that. They think, oh, this is the United States of America. They're going to come to our aid. They're going to save us from this terrible regime.
Yes. Well, what they should understand is something that, that we all know, and that is Republicans, and specifically this Republican, cannot be taken at his word for anything. Cannot be trusted. And even with the people around him, even the people that are, considered establishment, like little Marco, and, I mean, there's nothing about them that is, has integrity or operates in good faith.
No, none of them, it turns out, had integrity.
None of them do.
Very few of them, and the ones that did left the party.
They're gone. Yeah, and now we've got, a few that lost their primaries, and now they're, finding their spines, it's such bullshit. Anyway, so the fake MAGA patriot, this is a parody account, just so everybody knows. Trump has won his war in Iran at least 22 different times, Anita, according to Trump.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. I'm sure they do.
And this, for the people that are watching here, there's a funny graphic of two MAGA men doing the Times Square D-Day kiss or whatever. V-Day, right? Was
Show
that V-Day?
Show
yeah,
that.
Oh, no, I've got it. It's up. It's up. It's very funny. And I just want to, if I can, just for a second, I just want to take a really quick break, and I want to give you an opportunity to, because we just celebrated Memorial Day, and we were kind of like at a kind of a loss as to like, what do we say? Happy Memorial Day. So I just wanted to say, because it was Memorial Day, and because we were supposed to remember and pay homage to those who went before us and who actually gave the ultimate sacrifice and fought and died for freedom and for democracy. I just want to say, if I may, if you'll indulge me, Anita, I pulled up a sketch of my great uncle, Stanley A. Bell. On 23 December 1944, Private Bell was declared a casualty of World War II. He served with honor in the United States Army. He is remembered by the people of Illinois. May his heroic example inspire us to persevere with clarity and conscience, endeavoring towards peace, mutual respect, and equity for all. I just want to say, this is why he was awarded the Silver Star. So Stanley Bell received the Silver Star in the Battle of the Bulge. As a grenade was thrown into his unit, he picked it up and attempted to throw it back at the enemy. It exploded as it left his hand, and he was killed, but he saved his unit. Private Bell was awarded the Purple Heart and Presidential Citation posthumously.
Posthumously.
Yes. Stanley A. Bell was serving his country during World War II when he gave his all in the line of duty. He had enlisted in the United States Army. Bell had the rank of private, service number, assignment, and anyway. So I just wanted to, say something, because that is what the day is about. So I just wanted to put that out there. So I was remembering my great uncle Stanley yesterday.
Wow. So do you know how long he'd been serving when he was there
I have to ask my dad. He's got all that information. I should know. I should know. We get together around Christmas, and because it was right around the anniversary of his death, so our family had the tradition of coming together for our annual Christmas party on his birthday, and it didn't matter what day of the week it landed on. We did that. We've changed it a little bit, so now it's right around the week, the day, but on a weekend. But we remember him every year. Like, we take some time out of the eating and drinking and our Christmas songs. Everybody has to sing for their supper at our party. And you know, we will talk about, you know, the people
Yeah.
that went before us, but particularly my great uncle Stanley. So thanks for letting me do that, Anita.
Yeah, you should. You know what? You're welcome. You should just as a side. Heather Cox does like a 3-minute segment on the Battle of the Bulge. I you know, done a lot of like reading about it and watching documentaries about that particular battle because it was the very end of the war, and it was kind of a, you know, their last gasp. The Nazis trying to, even though it was kind of useless, but it was, you know, a lot of people died, a lot of Americans died, and it was just quite a sacrifice. But if you get a chance, you should watch that. It's a 3-minute.
I will look for that. Yeah, definitely. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and I know that your dad, was he?
Yeah, he was in, but he was in the Pacific.
Okay.
So at the very end of the war, because he just turned 18 on D-Day, June 6th, 1944. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So he didn't get a chance until after that to serve.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. There's on Twitter, absolute disaster for Washington, Anita. A former White House advisor admits on 60 Minutes that the Trump administration is completely powerless to reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
Oh,
so
I'm
gonna play this for our viewers and listeners.
I've worked in the White House during an energy crisis. There are no policy solutions to a prolonged closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
You're saying there's not much a White House, a president can do to stop this bleeding.
You open up the toolkit, and the tools in there, the options range from marginal through symbolic to deeply unwise. Escorts are a sideshow. Strategic stock releases are a sideshow.
Gas tax holiday?
Gas tax holiday, sideshow. You got to restore the flow of the Strait of Hormuz.
Even if the White House and Trump declared an end of this war today, tomorrow, is there any guarantee that Iran would open up the strait and it's back to business as usual?
No guarantee. It's not like there's a big gate that swings open in front of the Hormuz and Iran locks the gate. So all Iran has to do is demonstrate every day, every other day, that it has the means and the ability to attack ships in the strait, and that will be enough.
Yeah, and for people that think that just because we're going to reach an agreement, a deal, and just because like prices are just going to automatically fall, what do you think? What do you say to them, Anita?
Well, no, it's going to take a while because there's a big like holdup. There's like I don't know how many ships are waiting there still, but they have leverage now. That's what he's saying. Right now, they can threaten it at any time and cause a global economic catastrophe.
Right.
So this is their nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
They don't need to build a nuclear bomb.
Right. Yeah.
You know, so
they can hold the world hostage with.
That's right.
At any time. Yep.
And so Donald Trump gave them this leverage. And we're paying the price.
It's insane. And we're going to be paying the price for a long time. And, you know, I just remember people whining that President Obama didn't get the economy on track fast and, fully recovered fast enough. And that Joe Biden, it was like inflation and, prices, despite the fact that the Democrats and President Biden and Kamala Harris were calling for, a bill to be passed regarding price gouging, and every Republican voted against it. And, so all of these people that were screaming about, inflation and the cost of everything or whatever, well, here we are.
Well,
here we are. And it's not going to be a quick fix. It's not going to come back quickly.
It's a pattern. President Obama got us out of a terrible, terrible financial crisis. And then, of course, it wasn't quick enough. This is what Republicans do. They just stay on the sidelines, throwing peanuts every time.
And even obstruct, though.
Obstructing. Yeah, you're right. They stand in the way. They don't even, they try to keep them from doing what's best for America. Right? Because all they care about is their political lives, right? Their political careers and power. They care about getting power, and they wanted to. If Barack Obama fails, and then they think that's good for them. So they did the same thing to Joe Biden. Joe Biden was trying to get us to recover from what happened with COVID, Donald Trump's total mishandling of COVID. So he inherited that mess, and then when he started getting us out, he got blamed for the inflation, which was the direct result of COVID because of the supply chain issues caused by a global pandemic. And what did Republicans do? Did they want to help? No. Did any of them vote for the Inflation Reduction Act or any of the other things that were helping to get us to recover from that?
Yeah.
Even the rescue plan, the COVID rescue plan, none of them voted for that.
No, exactly. And I think that is something that we have to keep bringing up. And every Democrat, when we do take over in November, and then when we do elect another Democratic president, they have got to make sure that the American people understand that situation, because I don't think that there are too many people that just want to either ignore it or it wasn't said enough. Maybe. I don't know. I can't, because we pay attention. We know, we follow, we can connect the dots, but it's like, it's astonishing to me that people don't understand that.
Well, they have to be very good at communicating. But the problem is a lot of times the media, I remember when Biden and Jen Psaki were trying to talk about how gas prices were going up because Russia invaded Ukraine, right? And everybody just kind of lambasted that and said, "Oh, that's just an did Biden have a lever where he was raising gas prices? No. Did he tell Russia to invade Ukraine? I mean, and yet when this happens with Donald Trump, gas prices,
he started the war.
Because he started a war,
right?
For no reason,
right?
And so I mean, it's just let's just hope we have to be better at working the media, working the refs.
Exactly. And utilizing, as you were talking about, like with Hungary, utilizing independent media.
That's right. Independent media is so essential. And that's why I watch Midas Touch, the plug for Midas Touch, because it really does cover all of this. And it's just very good. It's a good resource. If you don't have a lot of time, just get their podcast and listen to that, and you'll catch up on most important things of the day.
Yeah, because they really do kind of break it all down. And so it's like when all of this stuff is coming at you, and one thing that I know Stephanie was talking about today is that, they do this deliberately. There was, I think in Steve Schmidt's Substack, he was talking about, the objective of throwing all this stuff out and just noise and one horror after another is to desensitize people, because they cannot take it all in and process it psychologically and know it, that the effect that it has is then people get desensitized to it, overwhelmed by it, desensitized, and then when we're desensitized, then they can do anything. They can pretty much do whatever. We cannot stop being outraged about this, but and I was talking to my son and his girlfriend who and she was saying, she goes, it's just like there's so much, and it's like there's the nonsensical stuff, and she's like, and I can't, like, I just put that to the side, and I said, that's and that's really what we have to do, but we have to be good at recognizing what are the things that we really need to pay attention to and what are the other things, and just compartmentalize them, put those in the basket, and but the really, we have to just be really good at identifying the things that like we really need to be aware of and paying attention to.
Let me give you a perfect example of being like so overwhelmed that this story should be like front page. With any other president, especially any Democratic president, it would be. One of the January 6th insurrectionists that Donald Trump pardoned was convicted, given like a life sentence for what he did. Was he told these kids that he was sexually abusing, that he would give them money he was going to get from some fund that Donald Trump was going to give them. And now he's been sentenced for sexually abusing these children. And he was pardoned by Donald Trump.
Yes.
And that should
that's a
be
big
that
deal.
should be front page.
Sure should. Sure should. Yep. So, yes, absolutely. So, we have a few other tabs here to get through. So real quick, I'll just kind of touch on these and then we can kind of wrap it because we're coming to the end here.
Okay.
All right. So this is from Megatron. Israeli Hayom reports the U.S. has no image of victory and achieved none of its goals, Anita. The only
Really?
real news, I know you're shocked.
I
The
am.
only real news is the
That's a
potential
art
agreement,
of the deal.
right? The part of the deal. Agreement at this stage is the mutual reopening of the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
Other issues are postponed to negotiations that are supposed to begin at an unspecified date. The Iranian regime achieved the goal it set for itself and ensured its survival. The Islamic Republic remained and even demonstrated its international power by closing the Strait of Hormuz, to your point. In contrast, America achieved none of its stated goals, Anita. Now, Trump cannot say that he has eliminated Iran's nuclear threat, stopped its missile program, or ended the regime's support for its proxy groups. On the contrary, this agreement stipulates that Hezbollah will also be obliged to a ceasefire. In other words, America recognizes the Islamic Republic as a military and political actor in Lebanon and gives it space, which is in complete contradiction of the goals of the war. All issues vital to Israel are postponed to future negotiations, and no one knows whether they will even take place.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, seriously, a 60-day, they're going to wait at least 60 days to even start talking about the nuclear, stuff. Who knows if those are even going to take place? And if they do, I mean, what's going to be the result?
Right.
Exactly. I mean, apparently the new leader of Iran has said we're not giving up any of it.
Right.
We're not even talking about it. So
Yep. Okay, I'm going to play this clip. This is from Twitter. Absolute disaster for the Pentagon. George Galloway confirms Iran successfully exposed the Trump destroying 41 American aircraft in just 39 days. I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Except they now know their power. They now know the cohesion that the sneak attack for the 39-day war has produced in their country. They now know the levels of national unity that they enjoy. The leadership in Iran is now more powerful probably than it has ever been since the immediate aftermath of the Iranian Revolution. They have shown the world that they are a military superpower, able to fight the Americans and the Israelis at the same time and wreak devastating havoc upon both of them. Congress.
Wow.
41 American aircraft were lost or severely damaged in the course of the 39-day war.
Oh, is it? No,
Yeah.
it's still going. No, it's still
Okay,
going.
go ahead.
Blockade by the American Navy never got off the water because, well, they couldn't sail close enough to the Iranian coastline for fear of being sunk by the devastating firepower of the Iranian air forces and the implied devastating fast boat techniques of the Iranian Navy. That's the
It's amazing these little boats that are giant destroyers and aircraft carriers are afraid of. Because a small little boat like that can destroy an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
So we're spending billions and billions of dollars for these huge ships and weapons and all this technology. And these guys are fighting it asymmetrically with drones that cost a few $1,000s that you can build in your garage.
Yep. Exactly.
And these small boats.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we were just talking about at coffee. One of the people there, her boyfriend was in Afghanistan and Iraq, and he said he goes, and his son is enlisted, and of course, the mother is very concerned about their son right now with everything going on. But he said, with AI and with the drones or whatever, it's changing how wars are being, fought.
Yeah,
Which, yeah.
And we have to realize that. And with somebody like Donald Trump, a Luddite, I mean, who does not want to change, he wants to build ships like they had in World War II.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Exactly. So anyway, I'm going to keep it moving because we are going long here.
Go ahead.
Ben Rhodes exposes the unseen fallout from Trump's war.
The longer term cost. We have also not been told the truth by the Pentagon and by the U.S. military, frankly, about the extent of the damage. I mean, I talked to people in the Middle East. The extent of the damage to U.S. bases, facilities, embassies across the region. We have no sense of the price tag, the amount of devastation, how long some of those facilities are going to be offline. We've also spent down an extraordinary amount of U.S. munitions that we brought from places like Asia, leaving South Korea more vulnerable, to try to defend all of these facilities and our allies. And what have we learned? Shahzad Iranian drones that you can make in your garage have hit our bases, have hit our Gulf Arab allies. An aircraft carrier cannot stop a speedboat from closing the Strait of Hormuz. And so it undermines the entire concept that America is a security guarantor, both in terms of our predictability and reliability and our not doing something as stupid as launching a regime change war against Iran, but also just in terms of our capacity and our understanding of where wars move it after Ukraine and Iran. Then I think there are going to be massive geopolitical shifts here. First of all, the Iranian regime, because of the war and the assassination of Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, who, nobody is shedding a tear for, but it's actually more hardline now. Iran is now run by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps that has demonstrated that they can control the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's fossil fuel energy flows. That is a huge deal. The Gulf Arab allies have played along with a concept in which we provide their security and they provide the energy, and that's kind of how the whole global economy works. Well, now their dependence on America has put them at risk. They were attacked because they are American allies, and we could not defend them. And that is going to lead them, I think, to start hedging against the United States and looking towards China. And then if you look around the world more broadly, to include our Asian allies and to include potentially even our European allies, who looks like a more stable and predictable actor right now? The Chinese Communist Party, that maybe you don't like the terms of the deal, maybe you think they're bullies, but the terms never change. Or the United States, where you have a president who's been imposing tariffs, launching wars, shaking you down for essentially tribute payments like he's done to the Gulf. America is not the stable bet. We are kind of the rogue nation in the world. And so I think what you're going to see in the long run, it puts at risk the dollar as the world's reserve currency. The dollar, I think most Americans don't realize what allows us to sustain our standards of living, which already feel like they're at risk because of rising prices, is the fact that we can take on so much debt because the whole world transacts through the dollar. Well, and that includes oil trades, importantly. You're already seeing some nations begin to move away from that. And if that is the case, then that is truly the end of not just kind of American hegemony, but America's capacity to sustain its fiscal situation. So there's a lot happening right now. There's some other.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly somebody could destroy this country.
And it's all because of the Republicans. Okay, so Saudi. Yeah. Yes. Sorry. We just have.
No, I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah. Republicans.
Yeah. So exactly. We agree.
Yes, we do agree on that.
Yes, we do.
For sure.
So, Infogram on Twitter says Saudi Arabia has started ditching Trump. At 9 a.m. All Middle East countries should join the Abraham Accords as part of the Iran peace deal. Saudi at 5 p.m. We reject Trump's demand and will only normalize relations with Israel if there is an irreversible pathway to an independent Palestinian state. Looks like Iran played 6D chess here. They're silently working to break the allies of the USA.
Yeah, they're successfully doing that. These countries are like, Ben Rhodes just talked about that. How they're turning towards, they're abandoning the United States. They don't want us around anymore because that puts them in more danger.
Right. So here we are, and there's another one here from Clash Report. People can see this. It's basically, the same thing where Trump demanded that Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, Egypt, and Jordan sign the Abraham Accords as part of any Iran ceasefire deal.
Yeah, and they told them to fuck off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm gonna play something. This is kind of a feel good before we end today's daily. This is Ken Burns, and this is an interview with Nicole Wallace, a sit down So this is at 9-2 New York.
In case we're all feeling pretty depressed about the United States right now, because we are.
Because we are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this.
Yes.
Okay, so that's here. Let me back it up.
Okay, start it from the beginning. Yeah.
Are we going to make it?
Yes.
I'm going to need your evidence-based response.
Yeah. So we were, well, I mean, first of all, we have three great crises after the creation of the United States: the Civil War, the Depression, and the Second World War. In those instances, free and fair elections and the peaceful transfer of power and the independence of the judiciary were never in question. There are a lot of things that are unique to this moment with this character that are terrifying, but we were more divided during our revolution, which was not just a revolution, the most consequential in the history of the world, but a incredibly bloody civil war, particularly on this island, particularly in New Jersey, particularly in South Carolina. Way more divided during our Civil War, where we murdered, we now think, well over 700,000 of our own people, and way more divided, I would say, during the period after the Civil War called Reconstruction and its collapse, its terrible collapse that created the Jim Crow system that we seem to be teasing or testing to go back into today, and way more divided during the Vietnam period.
Okay, so
I hope he's right.
I do too. So anyway, well, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Thank
Please,
you.
Like and subscribe.
Come back tomorrow and smash that button.
Smash the button, and yes, our YouTube channel, and then also our Patreon channel, True Blue Politics Podcast. And we did release our bi-weekly podcast that dropped yesterday with our conversation with Heidi Bayrick and Wendy Vai of the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism. So please check that out and go to the Patreon, subscribe. If you can give us a little bit of loose change, that would be amazing. But if not, we would just love to have you there. We do have a great chat, a nice community. So come on over. And I'm going to play us out as we always do with a AI video from okay, here we go. Here we go. Have a great day, everybody. Love y'all. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
76% of Americans now say the economy is getting worse because of the Iran war. That's according to Gallup. Worse than pandemic inflation. Worse than the post-Ukraine shock. And somehow, the same people who called Obama weak are now quietly saying his Iran deal may have been smarter. Now they say Obama's deal was better. Ain't that something? After all that shouting, after all that pressure, after all that America First discussion, now the same TV voices look uncomfortable trying to explain how this happened. Yeah. Remember when they said the old deal dangerous? Said Tehran was seconds from becoming unstoppable. Said ripping up the JCPOA would save the West. Now look at the headlines, nobody sound impressed. Rubio every morning talking progress soon. Then tomorrow comes and moves the moon closer than ever every other week. Like confidence getting harder to speak. And Trump online typing in all caps rage, saying critics losers who don't know the page. Claiming the deal gonna be good and proper, but nobody seen the details proper. That's the wildest part of this whole scene. America negotiating a deal nobody seen, while the strait's still partially locked in place and Mark is still nervous about global trade. You can hear confusion in the interviews now. Nobody fully sure what the plan allows. Hey! Now they said Obama's deal was better after years of calling it surrender. Now they say it maybe diplomacy mattered after the economy started shattering. Netanyahu wants every gram removed. Mike Flynn screaming Iran can't be trusted too. Lindsey Graham saying militia's getting stronger. Meanwhile, negotiations dragging longer. That's what they all sound like in real time. Everybody talking over the same line. No clear message, no steady hand. Just different factions fighting for command. And Democrats sitting back, half amused, saying, wait, it's worse than what y'all removed. Because Obama's deal at least had structure in place. Now America bombing first and searching for breaks. That's backwards strategy, that's panic math. You don't start fires and ask where the water at. And now sanctions relief back on the table again. The same thing Trump attacked back then. Billions possibly flowing under new terms. So what exactly did destruction earn? That question getting louder every day, especially when grocery prices climbing anyway. You can hear it in the silence now. Not confidence, not victory, not victory, just exhaustion. See this bigger than politics now. Families feel it every time they check out. Fuel cars shaking entire supply chains. Markets reacting every time missiles rain. And people watching closely noticing cracks. Because war slogans don't erase facts. The economy don't care about campaign lines or social media confidence at night. That's why the mood changed suddenly. Because reality hit publicly. Not through speeches, not through blame, but through ordinary people feeling pain. And now even Trump supporters asking low, if Obama's deal was terrible, then where'd this go? Because if the final outcome looks almost the same, minus the deaths, fear, sanctions, and flames, then history gonna ask one brutal thing: why attack Iran at all? Now they say Obama's deal was better. After all the noise and pressure, now they say maybe tearing it down was the moment everything turned around. Maybe the most dangerous thing a country can do is destroy imperfect peace without knowing what comes next. And if Obama's deal was really worse, Mr. President, why did America have to go to war just to end up negotiating again?
Starting now.